Welcome to the John Cady Podcast. I'm John Cady, U.S. Navy retired, former minister. I didn't think I was going to have to piggyback my podcast from the other day on Charlie Kirk so soon, but recent developments that I've followed on the news and social media begged me to bring this up because the backlash is already happening. Yes, there needs to be some serious outrage over what happened. The man responsible for Charlie Kirk's assassination definitely needs to be held accountable. He needs to be brought to justice. But at the same time, we're starting to see another trend, one that we've always complained about with people on the far left. And now we're starting to see it happening with people on the right. And that is doxing, exposing people, bringing their business out to light when it comes to voicing their displeasure and even celebrating the death of an individual whose views and opinions we don't like and we don't agree with. As much as I enjoy following Mark Dice, and I continue to follow Mark Dice, I enjoy his independent analysis of current events and his unvarnished opinions of people, whether they're on the right or the left. But when it comes to this topic of exposing people, reporting them to their employers if they're posting comments about celebrating the death of Charlie Kirk, this is where I disagree. I cannot do this. And the reason why I cannot support something like this is based on, one, the U.S. Constitution guarantees freedom of speech. We should have and protect the freedom to speak our opinion of things, regardless of how repugnant or repulsive they might be. Our own Supreme Court has precedents when it comes to expressing opinions on matters like this. During the Obama administration, the Supreme Court unanimously upheld the right of the infamous Westboro Baptist Church, which is based in Topeka, Kansas. They upheld their right to be able to protest and picket at the funerals of fallen service members and other people whom they have umbrage with. The Westboro Baptist Church is considered a very repulsive organization. They're not even liked by other Baptist churches. They're so far out there. Their views are often deemed very bigoted, very prejudicial in nature. Their actions when they're in public tend to rub people the wrong way. They're considered a social blight by many people across all political and religious spectrums. However, the Constitution does protect their right to speak and voice their opinion, even so far as to have the repulsive website name that still persists to this very day. I will not name it here. Google it. You'll find it, and be prepared to be offended once you do. The proliferation of videos and social media posts, even by people whom I am friends with, celebrating Charlie Kirk's death. Talking about it's a beautiful thing that Charlie Kirk has been offed, or saying, well, he brought this on himself. Those who live by the sword shall die by the sword, and so on and so on. All of those are things I deem repulsive. I completely disagree with. However, our Constitution does guarantee their right to speak their mind, no matter how repulsive and disgusting it may be. There is an individual I saw this morning bragging about going around. He's got a list of people he's writing down and he's reporting them to their employers because they have made these social media posts celebrating Charlie Kirk's assassination. To me, this is a dangerous precedent because if we're going to start doing this, if we're going to go around and start doxing people and reporting them to their employers because they harbor an opinion that the majority find unfavorable and use that as a means to terminate their employment to make their lives miserable, then we are no better than the people we often criticize. We often criticize people on the far left for doing stuff like this. And we've seen it all the time, especially on X or on Facebook, where stuff gets doxed. People's personal information is made public. People's employment information is made public. But when we go out there, those of us who are conservatives and those of us who adhere to the Constitution and start employing the same tactics, who are we? We're no better than the people we criticize. At what point does that turn around? The scriptures teach that we will reap what we sow. And if we continue to sow this kind of seed, it's just going to foster more hate, more division, more polarization. This is why I stated yesterday that I'm afraid we have crossed the Rubicon here. We have reached a point where any kind of civil discourse and disagreement over issues of the day or opinions about people or events is gone. At what point does this end? Are we going to keep going until we start seeing more bloodshed? This is why I was very concerned. Are we going to have people now start acting out in revenge? If they're going to start going around doxing and having people fired because of a differing opinion, then at what point does it escalate? I personally can't condone something like that, because what if it turns around? What if my opinions come out there and now all of a sudden I find myself at a reduced capability to have a decent livelihood or a decent relationship with family or friends? That's something that I will not support and I will not condone, because one, everything comes around. Two, the Constitution guarantees the freedom of speech regardless of who says it and what the topic is. We should have an obligation, even if we disagree, even if I disagree and completely abhor what some of these people have posted. I don't celebrate, I mourn the death of Charlie Kirk because I agreed with many of his positions. But with these individuals, I have an obligation because of the Constitution that I swore to uphold and defend years ago when I joined the military, that their right to speak their mind, as disgusting as it might be, as disagreeable as it might be, they should have just the same right to speak their mind as I do. We need to get back to this if we're going to heal as a nation. We need to be able to sit down at the table of ideas and discuss civilly, and even if we walk away agreeing to disagree, at least we have a better understanding and can respect one another's opinions. This escalation, this potential for more revenge, doesn't solve anything. As one saying goes, the problem with an eye for an eye is that eventually everybody ends up blind. And I'm tired of seeing people made blind because of stuff like this. We need to pause. We need to look at this as an opportunity to actually sit down and discuss, well, why do we hate this person? Or why do we support this person? Why do we support other issues? Or why do we oppose them? This is where I sometimes think social media has played a big role in the further polarization in our society, where we can't do that anymore. This is John Cady. If you enjoy these podcasts, hit like, hit subscribe, and I will certainly catch you on the next one.